Good evening, everybody. All right, the nice thing about this market is that it's not doing anything that's hard to analyze. After the big reversal signal in the Dow, we can see that now that we're back up above the T-line, it's just kind of a steady move to the upside. Same scenario with the NASDAQ. And once they gapped up above the T-line, just still a nice slow uptrend. I would suspect that now they're back into the trend channel, that they kind of drift up along that trajectory. And then the S&P 500, same scenario. Difference is the S&P 500 is trading right there, right above the recent highs. Things like crude oil also is making a very slow uptrend. You can see the hammer signal, bullish engulfing. That combination right there tells you the bulls have definitely taken control, especially when they broke this little downtrending channel. So if this is the last wave, expect the next wave to bring you up here to the 200-day moving average, which means you want to start looking or keep looking at the oil stocks. See what gold is doing. That's certainly not the right gold chart. Gold, nothing of any consequence. So what we want to look at is charts that have high potential moves on the next day open. Now, we recommended RMBS today. It really didn't do a whole heck of a lot. However, notice what it did do. It did come back, consolidate right to the T-line /200 after the bobble breakout, and then formed a doji. If this opens positive, what's it telling you? It's telling you got a doji sandwich continuing the bobble breakout. More than likely, you're going to be starting the next wave up. So if this opens positive, before everybody starts jumping in, you can get in early knowing the probabilities are extremely strong. You're going to have another big bullish day. ENLC also had a nice kind of fry pan breakout, but it didn't confirm today. But still makes for a high probability trade. But if it comes back up through today's high, which was the high and the close of the previous day, probably got wave 3 in progress. Look at your fry pan bottom breakout with a best friend signal here in ACB. And tonight, Crone started to do a little bullish signal, and it's trading a slightly positive after hours because I guess ELRY had a catch it. It's trading up slightly. See if I could move this around. There we go. Doji is trading up here after hours. So that might tell you that the wheat stocks are going to start acting well. We'll probably recommend Crone on a positive open based upon it hitting the lower end of the trend channel, making the prospects of kind of coming up toward the top end of the trend channel fairly likely. CBay, another one that we can recognize the classic pattern. Fry pan bottom, breakout, J-hook pattern, get ready to buy this one on positive trading. That's setting up very nicely. Things like XPO. Come on, move. You can see the kicker type signal. Anytime you see that kicker signal, you want to start going after it. Same thing with DCP. Dang. Ah, humbug. This system does this every now and then. DCP has a nice kicker signal. It won't come up over here. That's just a fine howdy do. And look at your X or LXRX off the kicker signal. J-hook pattern. Another J-hook pattern setting up. You can still be buying this one on positive trading. You're still coming off this kicker signal breakout, and you can see that it supports basically on the T-line on the pullback. TLRA, another J-hook pattern that can be bought on positive trading tomorrow, anticipating another wave of this magnitude. So again, observe the obvious. Bullish engulfing. They can't close it below the T-line. Now they're in the breakout area. Pretty good confirmation or evidence that your next wave is about ready to occur. IMMU, big belt hold, left-right combo, left-right combo. Where do you think your next likely target is? They've broken through there. Now you suspect heading for the 200-day moving average. Did I do this right? ECP. Well, Shazam. So anytime you see that breakout, as we saw in BA, when it broke out through here, especially there's your left-right combo. This is why okay, thank you, Charles. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I just removed a moving average that I didn't want to do. That was good. Goofy. Oh, ow, that's what I was trying to get rid of. So when it broke out with the left-right combo, telling us wave 1, wave 3 in progress. Same scenario on bold. No, it isn't. Bold's a J-hook pattern. Look at your breakout right here. Then your bullish flutter kicker, J-hook pattern. So you can analyze what's going on in a trend just by seeing all the different bullish signals or patterns, and with the one basic criteria, which is they can't seem to close it below the T-line. GDS, they can't close below the T-line. And these type of signals, a belt hold signal that comes back up above the T-line, pretty much tells you every time they've taken it down, they're buying up the sellers, leaving less sellers in the way, which means the next buying doesn't have as much resistance. Now, big, after its big move to the upside, probably should have been closed out today. To get back in it, it needs to do a positive trade, J-hook type pattern. And GH was acting well until today. Again, there was your J-hook pattern. There was your shooting star that told you if it started trading lower today, you probably wanted to take profits. You can always buy this one back. Now, this one still hasn't closed below the T-line. But with a shooting star that far away from the T-line and it's selling off, it was a good time to start taking profits. And remember our basic rule that if they hit 90, they'll hit 100. Is that on TLRA, Bob? What was 3046 or 2046? On which one? Yeah, I don't remember. Okay. All right, so the things like Nugget, because gold isn't moving very much, Nugget's not really going anywhere. Labu, very slow uptrend, telling you if you're in this uptrend, the biotechs are, the IMMU. Oh, the 200-day moving average. I see what you're saying. Okay. Now, Amazon, I mean, this is, again, just observing where the support came from, kind of a Morningstar type signal coming up to the 200-day moving average. Except what did it do today at the 200-day moving average? Went right through it. So there's a resistance level right here that now becomes the next likely target. Now, is it going to get there? Don't know, but at least you can see where everybody else might be expecting it to go to. So if it does get to that level, you watch a little bit more diligently to see what type of signal occurs there. Juan, hang on to your individual requests until we get to where I tell Jim to do the double line. And more than likely, we're going to see most of those before we get there. Apple, when it gapped up through the resistance level, making the 200-day a likely target. Netflix showed some strength today, but here's the reason that we want to see what type of signals form in different trading. Netflix up about 2 points. That might be good to somebody that's looking at what Netflix did today. Except notice what we see it did today. It traded well at the lower end of the trading range, not making for a very good pattern. So this still has to open and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, it's kind of showing us weakness based upon kind of the failure up here. NVIDIA is still working all right. Again, off this 50-day moving average. That 50-day moving average, remember, when they come up to a resistance level, they come back and test it to see if it's going to act as support. Piercing signal. Still in an uptrend. Now, is this uptrend very strong? Well, you can see, even though they sold it off a little bit today, they still didn't trade it back below the 3T line. And Tesla, there's obviously this support level, and then there's another support level that's way down further. So if it breaks this level, notice your bearish best friend signal. Notice your hanging man gap down. So even when you're looking at past chart movements, you can always pretty much see when there's been a sell signal, when there's buying, a sell signal, a sell signal. So that's how I basically learned to recognize the signals, number one, and then recognize which ones seem to occur most often. And that's how we came up with the 12 major signals. Okay. We pointed this one out in the chat room a couple of days ago. and it was breaking out. And it was still trading positive today. I didn't realize it moved up that much. Tesla not quite at channel support. I thought these lines stayed. Getting close. We watch to see what it does here. If it doesn't hold there, darn, did it, Rob? Somewhere down in this area. If you draw kind of a parallel line, if it breaks this level, now you're looking at this level down here, or probably getting pretty close to this area. Oh, pshaw. I'm just messing this up tonight. So here you've got applied materials. Notice where it bounced off your piercing signal off the 50. That is very relevant because obviously this is what everybody is watching. This is why, so when we did our high profit or top rank signals and patterns and kind of told everybody to come up with 4 or 5 trading strategies that would work for them, look at Delphi, a morning or a bullish harami, and where did it occur? Right smack dab on the 50. What's that kind of tell you? It tells you the 50 is going to act as support, making this a high probability trade if it opens positive tomorrow. We saw that same thing in something like WTI. There's your big bullish engulfing right at the 50. This gives you that much higher probability that that's where the buyers were stepping in. VNTR. What the heck are these lines coming from? Jeez. Look where your Morningstar signal occurred. Right smack dab on the 50. If this starts trading positive, that becomes a high probability trade setup. Same thing here. MGLN. Bullish engulfing. Doji, bullish confirmation. Where do you think your next likely target is going to be? Right back up here to test the 200. GLT. Yep. That was different someplace else. I thought it hit the 50. But notice it broke this downtrend with a series of dojis. This one can be bought with the anticipation you're probably heading back up to the top of the trending channel. Prox. Left-right combo after a series of dojis. Where do you think your next target is? By filling the gap right here at the 50. And Cato. Series of dojis. Closed right on the T-line. What do you got for an entry strategy for this one? If it opens positive, it's confirming this reversal signal, confirming this cradle pattern, and telling you the T-line's not acting as resistance. Where do you think your first target is going to be? Right back up here to the 50. So when you start adding things together as to where it's time to buy, like Micron, bullish engulfing, inverted hammer, bullish confirmation, and a doji today, If it opens positive tomorrow, what's it telling you? By a doji sandwich, breaking this downtrending channel, where's your next likely target? Back up here to the 200. So if the market opens positive tomorrow, meaning not selling off and the pre-market futures are showing the market's going to open up 20 points, and this opens up slightly positive, you don't have to really hesitate. You can start going after it immediately with anticipating a high probability that it's going to move higher. SE, you can see the J-hook pattern setting up right here. Be ready to buy this one on positive trading. And YUMC, look at your scoop pattern with your best friend gap up, consolidation, and if this opens positive tomorrow, kind of expect a move like this over the next few days. All right, thank you, SP. And Micron's got earnings coming up. CGTX, J-hook pattern, first target right here, second target somewhere up in this area. This is why you always want to know the different signals and patterns. Notice the kicker, trend kicker signal on TEUM. What did that imply? So it's going to be more upside. ABEV. Come on, there you go. Best friend. Kind of a little kicker type signal, stutter step. The reason we call this a stutter step is they take it up, they fail, and then they come in with a second buy signal. Look through for it to get through all here, through all this. There's a target right here, or a target of filling the gap. PBYI, notice what this did. You're in a 45 degree, and then you just did another Morningstar signal right here on the T-line. If you see a Morningstar signal supporting at the T-line, that's a pretty good implication. There's going to be more upside. CVIA, look at that Morningstar signal. Bullish confirmation. Silica, Morningstar signal. And where did this occur? Right smack dab on the 50. What's your next likely target? Right up here toward the 200-day moving average. CZZ, Morningstar signal. Now you've broken out. Where's your next likely target? Up here somewhere. So the reason we want to recognize the individual signals, there's not quite a Morningstar signal. It needed to close more than halfway up this candle. So you really didn't have a strong buy signal. Now you have a stutter step. Notice what it did today. Another Morningstar signal and a close below the T-line. Now you can start buying. It really confirms that the bulls are definitely stepping in. So look where this Morningstar signal kind of occurred, right off the 50. Kind of the same scenario right here. Where do you think your next target's going to be? So, anyways, it makes the visual analysis of a lot of these positions much easier to see. A Morningstar signal right off the 50 on ALGN. Did a little doji today. If it opens positive, what do you got going on? A doji sandwich. The Stochastic's still heading up. Where's your first likely target? Right here. Where's your second likely target? Maybe the same magnitude as this move right here. Again, basically putting you in a situation where the probabilities are in your favor of being in the right place or in at least the right direction. Blue, we're going to be buying this one on strength because if it breaks through this level, what do you got going on here? Stochastic's heading up, morning star signal, a doji sandwich or your McMuffin, another doji sandwich, and what's a doji sandwich imply? There's going to be more upside. If it breaks through this level, you want to be buying because now what becomes your next target? Right, somewhere up in this area, bring you up in here. So it makes for lots of easy spread or strategies. And if you can use, let's say, 180, maybe you want to buy the 170, 180 out in for April. You might only be paying 65 cents for that positioning. But if it does come up here, your 65 cents goes to 10 bucks. Or you decide you want to be a little bit more conservative, you can buy the 160, sell in the 165, maybe for $1.60, have it go to $10. I'm sorry, have to go to $5. So being able to see what type of setup you're in and what your next potential is, and knowing that this is a strong bullish startup, especially if it breaks through here, now you've got different methods or different risk strategies for the type of return that you might want to do. So if you wanted to kind of do a halfway, I'm just picking out numbers. You buy the 160, sell the 165 for $1.60. If it goes to 165, your 160 goes to $5. And then you go out and you buy another position of a 170, 180 for, what did I say, 65 cents, I think is about where it was. But if it does eventually get up there, your 65 goes to 10 bucks. Or if it fizzles somewhere in here, all right, the 65 cents you spent up here disappeared, but you made that money, or made a profit on your initial trade. APT, there's your fry pan bottom. Where's the likely target? If it breaks out through this area, right, at least back up here and maybe all the way back up into this range. If the bid-ask spread on the stock or on the calls, John, if it's on the calls, more than likely it'll get smaller when the trading comes back in when the market opens. But if it's, what I usually do is I put my bid halfway in between. And if it's working aggressively, maybe halfway in between plus 5 cents, just slightly positive. More than likely, they'll hit you right within the first, if they don't hit you almost within 15 seconds, they'll hit you within the first 5 minutes. If it doesn't hit you in the first 5 minutes, that means probably the volume isn't big enough that you might want to step back and see if it's worth trying to get in the first place. Why do I have this one? Goodness. Oh, TLYS, Tillies. Look at your belt hold. And notice what happens after belt hold. Look at your trajectory. Then when they wipe out a lot of sellers, this becomes your new trajectory because there's no sellers in the way anymore. BSI, here's your hammer, bullish engulfing. If it opens positive, what do you got going on? You're confirming this signal, you're breaking this downtrend, and you're being told that the T-line's not acting as a resistance, where do you think your first potential target is? Right here. Second potential target, same magnitude as that wave right there. An NGL, fry pan, bullish engulfing, series of dojis sitting right here, smack dab on the T-line. So you've got kind of a cradle pattern, fry pan bottom, bullish engulfing, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, the same magnitude as wave 1. All right, and then the only thing we've got right now on the short side is here, those are the bearish best friend. Just a very common analysis that if you see a doji gap down, there's going to be enough strength to keep sending it down. Let's see. One more up here that I forgot. Derm. Derm is a message. Derm. What was the message? We got a doji gap up. Not a good looking candle, but what can you suspect was happening here? Obviously profit taking. But what was the message? The message was they were coming in like gangbusters to get back into this. You had some profit taking, so what do we look for? Start looking for bullish candles telling us the profit taking is over. We were kind of today in the chat room analyzing this one. That somebody was saying, well, should I get out? Well, right now you had this big breakout. There was your message. Today it wasn't looking very good. So part of that not looking very good can be additionally analyzed by seeing, all right, what's my 10-minute chart telling me? Not a whole lot there. When we were looking at it, it was right about in here. So what's that kind of telling you? There's not a whole lot there right now. So what's the worst case scenario? That's not it. Close out the position. Then if you see the buying come in, get back in. So if you missed out on 48 cents, it was on the basis that when you were buying back that you weren't getting in because it looked like you could make 48 cents, looked like you could make $1.50 or $2. Okay, that's about all I've got. Let me see which ones we're probably going to be recommending. Oh, somebody with a crone looks like it could be heading back up, along with the other weed stocks. As you saw, we've got a new password for this week. Somebody was asking today is if we've got a password for a short-term basis, can we let our friends know about it? That's probably a good, don't let Pat know I said this, but if you've got people that would just like to see what goes on in here, give them the password. At least they can get in until the end of the week and you get at least a little bit of a taste of what candlestick analysis looks like. Let's see, hang on for 1 second. Jim, go ahead and do the double line. All right, I know that some of you have been concerned, but I'm happy to report that now there's about 25 turkeys that show up every day. There seems to be 3 male turkeys. Last year there was only 2. So I was telling the story where used to be, I've got a big trash can of birdseed out in front of the house, in front of Sandy's office. Used to be the turkeys would be around the hillside, and I'd open up the front door, and they'd all run up the hill, up into the woods. And I'd go to the trash can, and I'd throw out a couple of big scoops of birdseed. And then I'd go back in the house. After about 3-4 minutes, they'd all start slowly wandering back down the hill onto the driveway to eat all the birdseed. Well, the next day I'd come out, and they'd only run halfway up the hill. And I'd throw out the birdseed, and it would only take them a minute to come back down. Then it'd go out again. They wouldn't even bother running up the hill. They'd just stay at the bottom of the hill, and I'd throw out the birdseed, and they'd start heading for the birdseed even before I'd get back into the house. Then it got to be where if I got to the trash can and threw out the birdseed, they were already running to the birdseed with me standing there. Then it finally got to the point when I opened the front door, they'd all start running to where I'd feed them on the birdseed. So they become very well trained very quickly. But you can be buying this one. You can see the little wedge, so I'd be a buyer of probably around 620 or so, breaking this little wedge formation. TLRA, be buying this one on positive trading. J-hook pattern. Neos, another nice looking J-hook. You can be buying that one. Make sure your volume is good and hefty. AXGN, another cup and handle. You can be a buyer, and especially if it breaks up through this level, that would be a good looking chart. So you're right at the breakout area. HRTX, nothing here yet. If you were short, you would have covered your short with it closing back up above the close of yesterday or of Friday. So I wouldn't be short, but I wouldn't be long right now. Port, nothing. Just nothing there. Wouldn't be long or short that one. ACA, this one you can be buying. Look at the little bullish engulfing left-right combo. You can be buying this one. Just not a very vibrant chart yet, but you can be buying. Definitely need to see it break out through this level. An ARQL kind of supported today. If it starts opening positive, a little inverted hammer, you can start buying, but it needs to start showing some strength from this level. JetBlue has to open positive. If it opens lower, you may have a bearish J-hook pattern in progress. APHA, another one that you can be buying. There's a little left-right combo. Definitely want to watch to see what it does at this resistance level. NIO, nothing yet. You do have a doji down here. If you're short, get ready to cover it if it starts trading above the high of today. That far away from the T-line and a doji. RMD ResMed, that's got battered. That one's a good short. Look where you failed. Your evening star signal, not quite at the 50, but at the same level, you had a bearish engulfing signal. I would suspect you could be coming back down to test this level. A bearish McMuffin. You're right. It is a bearish McMuffin. Oh, man, I forgot completely. I knew I had a project. We were supposed to figure out the name of these big moves. I'll try to do that tonight. Cyber, just stay long, but see where you're running into a little bit of resistance. You definitely want to use the T-line as your stop. EBIX, nothing of any great magnitude yet. I'd want to see more strength to tell you that they've finally gotten this moving on a bullish direction. Target broke through as a kind of a bobble breakout. I'd be a buyer of this one as long as it stays above the 200. BHC, you can stay long on this one. Big sloppy, looks like a J-hook pattern setting up. Tiva, same scenario. Bullish confirmation. Little left-right combos. I'd suspect the 50-day moving average being the next target. CNAT, stay long. Use the T-line as your stop. SFIX has gotten pretty soggy. So here's a perfect case that if you held on to this, your safety stop would have been the low of the previous day because it was going in the wrong direction. It needed to move in this direction. If it came down through there, you could always buy it back if it came back up through. But where do you think it was heading to from that point? Back here to the T-line. So I wouldn't be long this one right now. I wouldn't be short, but I'd be looking to go long if this starts setting up as a J-hook pattern. Square, nothing. I wouldn't be long or short this one. Just not enough strength in one direction or the other. And JetBlue, this one has to open positive. If it opens lower, again, you've got the bearish J-hook pattern set up as a viable setup. Pump, stay long. I don't know why we got this line on here, but you're pretty much breaking out. So look for your J-hook pattern to continue. Bobble breakout on par. Stay long as this stays above the 200. Facebook looks like it's still heading for the 50-day moving average. So if you're short, you stay short. Roku didn't really get started yet. If I was short, I would have covered it. But I wouldn't be going long right now. Nothing there yet to tell you which way they're trying to move it. Trade Desk needs to stay above the T-line to stay in it. OLED, just stay long. Boeing. Boeing had the prospect of a bullish left-right combo. But notice where it opened today, down here at the lower end. So if you're short, you stay short. I wouldn't be going long just yet. Not until you get all the whipsaw trading out of this one. Apple, you just stay long with the anticipation it's going to at least test the 200-day moving average. NBEV, you can get ready to buy this one on positive trading with the first target being the 50-day moving average. Didn't we do NIO? I'm pretty sure we did. We did. You stay short, but you put your stop at today's high. And we did APFA. can be buying this one. It needs to break out of that downtrending resistance level. Shopify needs to open positive, staying above the T line. Alcoa, kind of a morning star signal, yes. Not real strong, and it's not a real enticing chart either. There's really not a whole lot there that would be very interesting. Now, if it does get up above the 50, which it has to do, you can stay long. You're just not going to make a very big percentage move, but the next target should be the top of that channel. Yes. And McDonald's, another one that doesn't really have a great enticing chart. And you can see kind of the modus operandi pattern here. So you're kind of in a wedge formation, which means you don't have any great prospects of movement on this one. Yeah, the breakout isn't there. Advanced Auto, if you like this one, you can be buying it, but again, you're in this sideways movement, so your next target is somewhere right up in here or the top of this channel. So you can be buying it, just be aware that it's got to get out of this congestion area. And CCJ, you can stay long, but today's selling has to, you need to see positive trading from here. You came right back down to the T line in the overbought area. If this one opened lower, I would suspect they're coming back down. So it needs to open positive and continue to trade positive. UBNT has to trade positive to continue the J-hook pattern. If it opens lower and trades lower, now you've got more apt to be in a sideways downtrend than a J-hook pattern. Zoo, nothing. Would not be long or short this one. That's just a junky sideways. Okay, we're going to figure out something. Bill Sid, stay long. That's a worse spelling of Zenga. Stay long as it stays above the T line. They stand about 3 feet high from the ground to the top of their head if they're standing up looking around. They're pretty big birds. Yeah, we've had flocks. So we had one year where we had 7. They were all big birds, and in the wintertime, they were just as jet black as a crow. And as the spring comes on, they start turning brown again. Yeah, they're getting to the point where if I go out and I can gobble at them and they gobble back at me. But if they hear me gobbling, they'll all turn around and start walking toward me on the driveway because they know I'm going to throw out the bird seed. So when I throw them out, they're only about 4, 5, 6 feet away. CSU, you can be buying this one on positive trading, a little J-hook pattern. That's right. I almost fud this guys. This one you can get ready to buy on positive trading. Needs to break this little downtrend. But then don't want to see it close back below the T line. LADR, you can get ready to buy this. Obvious support right here on the T line. I'm sorry, on the 200. And remember, anytime they gap it down in the oversold area, start looking for buying. TJT, Nothing yet. You still need to see some confirmation, getting up above the T line before going after it. That's right. If we teach them candlesticks, again, the Chinese markets heading back up. Hard to trade because it's traded overseas, but it's heading in a northern direction. Best Buy, bearish J-hook. You stay short. Tesla, stay short. No, that gives you a little bit more incentive. But if the stochastics are in the oversold area and you're getting almost a breakout, that's a little bit more added confirmation that you want to start going after this one. That's a good chart setup. Did I write that one? I already wrote that one down. Yeah. CVS. You can be buying this one with the anticipation. There's your first target. Fill in the gap is your second target. You've got a little bullish J-hook, double doji setup. Same scenario here. You can be buying this one on positive trading. Just use the T-line as your stop. Bonsai Blast, that might be one of them, Jeremiah. KRNT, Morningstar signal. I'd be a buyer on positive trading. Crude oil. Oh, I don't need to do this. Crude oil still in a slow uptrend. May contract, as you can see, is still in a little steady uptrend. American, get ready to short this one. If it comes back down through this level, you also have a bearish J-hook. I wouldn't be long or short right now, but I'd want to see what it does over the next day or so to see if it's a bearish J-hook or whether they're supporting and trying to get back up through the T-line. Nothing yet on this one. If you're long, you stay long as it stays above the T-line, but you're pretty much looking for this to break out through the 200. Stay long, ECL. Turkeys with 3 feet, yes. Yep, they got 3 males, and they will stand around with their tails all fluffed up. AMAT, if it comes back up through today's open, you want to be buying this on the bubble breakout. Harry, yes, that's in consideration. I've gotten them all written down. I just haven't put my powerful mental analysis to which one should be the right one. All right, as long as this market continues to stay above the T-line, it's unfathomable to think that we might have another move like this over the next couple of months. But when I was a stockbroker and the Dow traded between 750 and 1,000, some idiot said it could go to 3,500, which seemed unfathomable. Mega Kazi, all right. We'll get something that makes it very apparent that it's a big price move. Okay, crude oil at 59.35. This is information that you should not even listen to, but I think with the amount of oil the United States has now found in their reserves, I'm guessing they're going to try to get the price back up to around 60 and keep it there. Because at $60 a barrel, it makes it economical for the producers to keep cranking out oil, keep pouring for it and pumping it, and doesn't make gas prices all terribly high. Bill, I thought they said that the crude oil is now net export from the United States, that we're exporting more oil than we're importing, which 5 years ago, if you listen to the oil experts, you know how much money we were sending out to foreign countries for their oil, that it would seem like it would be decades before we could get to the point where we became a net exporter, if we could ever get there. Yes. Yes, and from what I know, just listening to Sandy's conversations, I probably mentioned it before, they've found, well, the Balkan field up there in North Dakota is still just being tapped, and it's supposed to be as big as the big oil fields of Texas. But since then, if I recall correctly, they've found another oil field that is what they said is 3 times bigger than the existing oil fields that they already found in Texas. And I know that Alaska, on the North Shore, they found a ton more oil. So I don't think we're going to be in. Sandy kind of just tries to do some brokering. Well, it's hard to move out of the Dakotas right now because they have to. They don't have a pipeline, I think they're getting the pipeline set up. Currently, they're sending it on the train to go down to the refineries in the Houston area or the Louisiana area. However, the technology has improved. Now, I'm just talking off the top of my head again. The technology has improved so much that they can have a refinery right on a train where they bring the crude oil in at one end along all the different processes along the train, and then have the end products at the other end, so you don't have to build these big, huge refineries anymore. And you don't have to ship your crude oil to the refinery. The refinery comes right to you. So, anyways, I know they're doing a lot right now in the Balkan field to get that up and running. And the other aspect to it is that you don't hear so much anymore about how companies are losing big money by drilling dry holes. Their technology and has improved so much that most every time they drill a hole or they re-drilling an existing hole, that they can get so much more oil out of existing holes because of the technology of their drilling and the pipes and that sort of thing. So I don't think we're going to have any energy problems for quite a few years. And and as far as an environmental thing, I think there's very little concern about ruining the environment because the technology's gotten so good that obviously they know once they bring in a well, they've got everything so sophisticated now that to have an oil spill or anything like that is very unlikely. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. All right, still in an uptrending market, and we do still have sunshine. We still have winds. But unfortunately, what they don't tell us or add in the factors of wind is once they build one of those big windmills, it's like anything else. They wear out. So the cost of redoing a windmill is almost as expensive as building it in the first place. Yeah, it kills the birds, but I think they can get around that by just, all you have to do is put loudspeakers that sound like hawks on those windmills and birds will stay away. Yeah, I see they do have a chemical fire going on in Houston right now. Okay, I'm just kind of rambling, so with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow. We'll see you then.